Good morning, class. Today we are going to study about consumers equilibrium in two commodity case or several commodity case. Dear student, in our previous section we studied about consumers equilibrium in one commodity case. Okay student, you all are familiar with the definition of consumer equilibrium, that a consumer is in equilibrium when he maximizes his satisfaction with the given amount of money or with the available income. When he spend that income in the market price and buy different commodities and services from the market, and when he get the maximum satisfaction by consuming those goods and services, he is in equilibrium. So we can say that a consumer is in equilibrium when he maximizes his satisfaction by spending his given amount of income on different goods and services. Okay student, this is the definition of consumer equilibrium. Now in the single commodity case, we all are familiar that consumer equilibrium is struck when marginal utility of X or any commodity is divided by price of X equals to marginal utility of money, which you studied in my earlier video. Okay, which you studied in my earlier video. In the case of single commodity, that marginal utility of X divided by price of X equals to marginal utility of money. So this is the equation which represents the consumer equilibrium in one commodity case. Okay student, we all are familiar in this particular term. Suppose in this case, two commodity case, a consumer buy two commodity X and Y. Okay, you can give them name like mango and apple, okay, for your convenience. So if a consumer buy two commodity X and Y, then in the case of X commodity, a consumer is in equilibrium when marginal utility of X divided by Px equals to MUM, marginal utility of money. This is equation 1. Okay, we all are familiar in this case of single commodity. So in the case of X, consumer is in equilibrium in this equation. Okay, in the case of Y, the consumer is in equilibrium when marginal utility of Y divided by price of Y equals to MUM, marginal utility of money. This is equation 2. Okay, in both the cases, the consumer is in equilibrium. If you talk about individually, then this and this. Now in the case of two commodity, we sum up both the equation. Okay, we combine both the equation. So by combining both the equation, we will get our equation 3, which is marginal utility of X divided by P of X, price of X equals to marginal utility of Y divided by price of Y equals to MUM, marginal utility of money. So dear student, this is the equation of consumer equilibrium in two or several commodity case. Okay, in this commodity case, the equilibrium, the marginal utility divided by price of both the commodity we take together with the marginal utility of money which we spend per unit of money which we spend on those commodities. Okay student, suppose if there are more than two commodities, then you will add up all those commodities. Suppose in case of multiple commodities, now in our MUX upon PX equals to MUY upon PY. Now suppose you have one more commodity, then MUZ divided by PZ equals to MUM. Okay, so we can increase our equation by adding 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 commodities, whatever commodities you wish to buy. But in our case, we are taking only two commodities, that is X and Y. Okay student, now commodity X, this MUX divided by X represents that suppose the marginal utility which you are getting from consuming X commodity is 50, and the price of X commodity is rupees 10. Okay, so this 50 divided by 10 equals to rupees 5. So by spending 10 rupees, or by consuming 50 by getting 50 marginal utility, by paying 10 rupees, you are getting rupees 5 per unit utility. Okay, you are getting marginal utility per rupees is 5. Okay, the rupees which you spend. Okay, so the total utility which you are getting is rupees 5 by spending this amount. Now similarly in the case of Y, the marginal utility is 100, price of commodity is 20. When you divide both the term, you get rupees 5. Okay, so it simply represents that in case of commodity Y, you are getting per unit marginal utility is rupees 5. In the case of X commodity, you are getting rupees 5. In the Y commodity, you are getting rupees 5. And when these two 5 equals to marginal utility of money, which is all again 5. So when these three terms is equal in an equation, then we simply get a consumer equilibrium in multiple or two commodity case. Okay students, so this is the equation of our consumer equilibrium in multiple or two commodity case. Okay, your mux should be equal to muy upon py, and both the terms will be equal to mum, then only you will get the consumer equilibrium. Okay, now let us understand these terms or this concept with the help of a numerical example. Okay student, let we now present a simplified tabular illustration, which is table number 5 of the consumer equilibrium considering good x and good y. Okay, on the basis of the assumption that px equals to py equals to 1, it simply represents that price, okay, you can note down price of x commodity is rupees 1 and price of y commodity is rupees 1, both the price are equal. Okay, and we know that we will get consumer equilibrium by this case. Okay, and by formulating or by converting this equation, we will get mux equals to muy upon mum, which is our upper part of this equation. Okay, we can write this equation as this. Okay, they both are same. Okay, now note that mux now shows marginal utility of commodity x, which we already know. Okay, when another unit of x is purchased or when another rupees is spent on x, which we know. Likewise, muy represents the marginal utility of commodity y when another unit of y is purchased. When you buy a as I told you, that marginal means per unit or one extra unit. Sorry, marginal means one additional unit. So that's why they are writing in that next unit, or they are they are writing that marginal utility of y when another unit. That's why they are writing another unit. Okay, so muy shows marginal utility of y when another unit of y is purchased or when another rupee is spent on y. Okay student, so let us explain this with the help of a tabular diagram. Suppose in this table a consumer buy different units of a commodity like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the different units of a commodity which a consumer is buying, and the marginal utility by buying these different units a consumer getting in the case of x is this, in the case of y is this. Suppose he consume 1 unit of a mango, he will get marginal utility 25. He consume 1 unit of apple, he get marginal utility 30. Okay, similarly he consumed second unit of a commodity, 2 unit of a commodity. In mango case he will get 20 marginal utility, in apple case he will get 26 unit of marginal utility for by consuming 2 apple. So in this equation we have 5 quantities. When he buy or when he consume 5 unit of the commodity, then marginal utility he will get is different in case of x and y. Okay student, I hope this is clear now to you. And in our assumption we know that price of x equals to price of y, which is rupees 1 per unit. If you buy 1 unit of mango, if you buy 1 mango, you have to pay rupees 1. If you buy 5 mango, you have to pay rupees 5. If you buy 1 apple, you have to pay rupees 1. If you buy 5 apple, you have to pay rupees 5. So this represents the price of a commodity px equals to py, which is rupees 1. Okay student, I hope now this table is clear to you. Now let us start. Now let us assume that the consumer has 6 rupees. Now we have price of x is rupees 1, price of y is rupees 1, and the total amount of money which consumer have rupees 6. A consumer has 6 rupees, so he has to spend these 6 rupees in these two commodities. Okay student, now 6 rupees is spent across good x and good y. Now how will he spend his amount of money in these two commodities? Okay, this is very important point. Be careful when you are seeing this particular session. Okay, be careful. Okay, when he spend rupees 1, he will only focus towards the maximum utility which he is receiving by spending rupees 1. So in both the table we will find that when he spent rupees 1, in the case of good y he is getting maximum utility, which is 30. So he will spend his first rupees on commodity y. He will buy apple, which giving him 30 utility. When he go or in the when he spend his second rupees, then he will go again for maximum satisfaction, which he is getting again in apple, which is 26. Okay, which is 26. You can see when he spend his third rupees, again he will go for maximum utility, which you can see in the case of mango, which is 25. So he will spend rupees third on mango. He will buy 25, and when he spend rupees fourth unit, then again he will go for maximum utility which he is getting in mango at 20 unit. Okay, so he spended his first unit on 30, where he is getting maximum satisfaction. After second rupees on 26, third rupees on 25, fourth rupees on 20. Now when he spent his fifth unit, in while spending his fifth unit of rupees, he is getting similar utility. He is getting the same utility in case of x and y, which you can see 15 15. So in this time the consumer will go for his preferences or taste. Suppose he find that mango is more delicious than apple, then he will go for mango. And if he find apple is more delicious than mango, then he will go for apple. So he have the choice. He can spend his fifth rupees on mango or apple, both. So suppose he spend his fifth rupees on mango, on apple. So the 15 unit, okay, he will buy a apple which give him 15 utility, and the last sixth rupees he will spend that rupees on mango, from where he is getting 15 utility. So student, by this now you have cleared that how a consumer can spend his given amount of income or money in both the commodities. From where he is get maximum satisfaction, he will go to spend his money on that particular commodity. So in our case 6 rupees spended. So in our case 6 rupees spended differently. You can see first rupees on first rupee he spend on third good y, where he get 30 unit of utility. Second rupees again good y, 26 util of utility. Third rupees on x, where he is get 25. Fourth unit again x, where he is getting 20 unit of utility. And fifth unit he have choice whether to go for x and y. So he go towards apple. He buy one unit of apple and spend his fifth rupees, or for sixth rupees he go towards mango and buy a unit of mango by spending his 6 rupees. By this he spent all his 6 rupees. Okay student, now when we add these utilities, you will get that by spending all his 6 rupees he is getting 30, 26, 25. He is getting 30, 26, 25, 20, 15 and 15 utility, which you have seen in this particular section. Okay, so the sum of the total is 131. It simply represents that by spending his 6 rupees on both the commodities, the maximum utility a consumer can achieve or get is 131 utils. Okay, beyond this he is not able to get more utilities beyond this. Okay, so no other combination of x and y will offer the consumer higher than 131 units of util. Okay student, so while he spent 6 rupees on the purchase of x and y, okay, so when he purchase commodity x or commodity y and spend rupees 6 on both the commodity, the maximum utility he is getting is 131. Okay, beyond this, like 132, 133 is not possible in any combination. Okay, so this is the point of equilibrium where he is get maximum satisfaction by spending his rupees 6. Okay student, now we can see this particular explanation with the help of diagram. Okay, consumer equilibrium in two commodity case. Again in the same one commodity case, we already seen our diagram. Similarly in two commodity case, we are going to plot commodity x in this side, commodity y in this side. Okay, this diagram show a mirror image. Okay, why the economists take why the author take why this side, because it's not possible to represent both the diagram separately. That's why to plotting both the diagram in a single way, or to plot a point of equilibrium, he combined both the diagram. So this diagram shows that, be careful, x good of x, this this part represent marginal utility of x, this portion represent consumption of good x. Okay, similarly in this case this portion represent marginal utility of y, and this portion represent consumption of y. When you move this towards this, when you are move this word, when you move rightward, this indicates consumption of good X, and when you move leftward, then this shows the consumption of good Y. So that when you see that consumption of good X, consumer is consuming 4 units, and in the case of good Y, this is a hypothetical example, this is not linked with our table, okay, so be careful, this is a hypothetical example. Okay, suppose consumer is consuming 6 unit of good X, and he is consuming consumer is consuming 4 unit of good X and 6 unit of good Y. So in both the cases, when 4 unit of good X and 6 unit of good Y he consume, he is at the equilibrium point. So this shows your equilibrium point. As we know that marginal utility is downward sloping like in the case of X, and downward sloping like in the case of Y, where both the marginal utility intersect each other. This is the this point is known as point of equilibrium. In this point, marginal utility of X, MUX equals to MUY equals to MUM. So this is the consumer equilibrium point diagram in multiple commodity case. Okay, student. So you can see that you can see in the explanation that the figure reveals the following fact. First, the consumer consumes 4 units of good X and 6 units of good Y. Second, marginal utility related to 4th unit is equal to marginal utility related to 6th unit, which you can see here. Okay, student. So equilibrium is struck when marginal utility of X equals to marginal utility of Y. It occurs at point Q in our diagram. Okay, student. So summing up the two commodities case, we can state that the consumer strike his equilibrium when he is in a state of equimarginal utility. Okay, whenever a consumer is in the state of equimarginal utility, this is the point of equilibrium. Now, what is equimarginal utility? This is also known as law of equimarginal utility. Be careful. Okay, law of equimarginal utility states that the consumer strike his equilibrium when the last rupee spent by him gives him equal marginal utility whether he spent it on X or Y. This is called as equimarginal utility. Like like in our case, we have rupees 5th or rupees 6th. Okay, we have rupees 5th. Okay, whether we spend rupees 5th on X or we are going to spend in Y, in both the cases we are getting marginal utility which is equal to 15. So this is the point of law of equimarginal utility, and by this law we will get our consumer equilibrium in two commodity case. Okay, student. Now this is our two commodity case. Okay, two commodity cases finish here. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in your by personally message me, by calling me, or by text, or by comments. Okay, student. Now in the last, the assumption of consumer equilibrium. We all are familiar with the definitions of consumer equilibrium, but there are few assumptions of consumer equilibrium which we must keep in mind while going through this topic. The first assumption is that utility can be expressed in cardinal number. As we are doing the cardinal utility approach given by Professor Marshall, that's why we are assuming that we can measure it in the terms of utility, like 1, 2, 3. In the second assumption, that marginal utility of money remain constant. Okay, he is talking about MUM. Your MUM is constant, rupees 1, rupees 2, whatever you are taking, it is constant. The next point is the law of diminishing marginal utility holds good. Okay, and the last one is that the consumer behave rationally and aims at the maximization of his satisfaction. This is the important point, that the behavior of the consumer is rational, that his final motive is to earn maximum satisfaction. That's why he will spend his income accordingly. Okay, student, that's it for today. Okay, now our marginal utility topic is finished. Our consumer equilibrium topic with the help of marginal utility analysis or utility analysis is finished. Okay, student, we will start with our new topic in our next session, consumer equilibrium, with the help of indifference curve analysis. Okay, student, till now stay safe and stay at home. Okay, student, thank you so much.